On this episode of Dragon Ball, I mean Joe's Journey, we got death, loot, and more death.
Hey guys, it's Kusi. When I told you last episode that we are far from done, I meant it. So hey, we're back. Now, before we go into this episode, I wanted to give you a little sneak peek. That's right, we finally managed to mess up keys. But first, I'd like to dedicate a moment to give you guys a core idea of what Elemental Shaman does, or how it plays rather. So I will put 90 seconds on the clock and see how far I can go. Keep in mind, this is going to be the simplest run through, so all of my Elemental Shaman mains out there, I am deeply sorry. Okay, let's put 90 seconds on the clock. Ele Shaman has two core concepts: gain Maelstrom by casting abilities and spend Maelstrom by using more powerful abilities. The important gain abilities are Lightning Bolt, Chain Lightning, Lava Burst and Ice Fury paired with Frost Shock. Elemental Blast for single target and Earthquake for AoE as our spender abilities. Our Mastery gives all of our gain abilities the chance to trigger a second time for lower effectiveness. With Mountains Will Fall, our Mastery also applies to Elemental Blast and Earthquake. Our cooldowns only include Stormkeeper, which enhances our next two Lightning Bolts or Chain Lightning, and Storm Elemental, which just passively does Pew Pew while giving us haste on our abilities. After that, we just got plenty of amplifiers: Elemental Fury, Master of the Elements, Lightning Rod, Electrifying Shocks, and that one. Surge of Power also is another talent that enhances our playstyle. With that, we always want to use a Maelstrom Gainer after using a Spender. Also, Echoes of Great Sundering pretty much insists on us not spamming Earthquake, but rather rotate between it and Elemental Blast. So the perfect setup would be Ice Fury into Frost Shock for 20% more nature damage, Elemental Blast, and then Lightning Bolt to trigger the most single target damage. On AoE, swap out Lightning Bolt for Chain Lightning and use Earthquake after Elemental Blast for the extra damage. Also pretty much use Stormkeeper on cooldown to do giga damage in both AoE and in single target when paired with Elemental Blast's extra overload. If you have nothing important to press, always go for Lava Burst instead of using an unbuffed Lightning Bolt. Just don't forget to use Flame Shock along with it, so the Lava Burst crits for sure. We also have Liquid Magma Totem, which I just always forget to use, so I don't include this in here, but press this whenever. For the last few seconds, I'll just mention our tier set. Now, with that out of the way, let's continue where we left off. After finishing our Neltaris 11, we upgraded our own key to a Vortex Pinnacle.
You're joking.
That's right, for the third time this week. But I was unsure of 13, so I lowered it to 10, because I'm an idiot and I totally forget that the Wormcrest fragments will start dropping at 11. This plus 10 was funny though. The tank item level over 440 queued with his 380 item level Warlock friend and absolutely carried the run by himself. He did so much damage that I truly believe that he sacrificed everything. Just look at that single target output. Crazy. Needless to say, because of this prodigy, the run went silky smooth. We got a ring, but since we pretty much had the same thing already, I gave it to the undergeared Warlock in appreciation of the tank. Next up, because of 3 chests in the last run, we head towards Brackenhide 13. I had Brackenhide on Tyrannical Weeks because the first boss cancelled more parties than Karens in the US.
That's not the point.
And for some reason, no one wanted to apply for us. Like, no one. However, one thing to mention is that at this current time, I was able to obtain my 2 set by putting 2 items into the catalyst. And I know why you're here, so I won't bore you with the trash bags and give you the juice right away. Let's see what went wrong here. Our Holy Paladin just got railed by the Bladestorm, and our Dragon Boy died to the Earthbolt after. We managed to recover, but then I found out that our monk was secretly working for the Warband too. Right before he had to soak the Savage Charge, he just stepped out of the way and let the druid die. With that, our first wipe was unavoidable. You heard it right, the first wipe, because this gathering of true Giga Chats didn't give up. So we went again. Dragbo died to lack of heal and our Pala died because no cooldown was available. But if you for some reason think that this is it, then you are correct. So this was it. My first failed attempt for keys on the Shaman. A bitter taste that I had to get used to quicker than you think. After this grounding experience, I lowered the key to 11 and went on it again. And well, those dudes didn't mess around. Just look how quickly those druids annihilated the Warband. Oh yeah, I am also there. Blow the tank. Like on the 13 earlier, I was totally overwhelmed with what's going on, so I never really was able to just think calmly. Surely this will get better with time. Because I was unable to hold the candle to those 2 druids, I just decided to snipe the add damage in order to appear important on damage meter. Finishing this run with almost 4 minutes to 3 chested and a whooping 0 deaths, this was a complete 180 to the run before. I wish those guys would have signed up for that one. Seeing on the overall meter that my almost 70k actually aren't too bad, I still got carried big time by everyone involved. And because I got carried, I got rewarded with an upgrade. This crit verse neck is actually a very good item to get, so I gladly take that. Our next stop is in Nazmir, which can only mean the Underworld. Considering how the last plus 13 worked out, let me ask you, are you ready?
No?
Because if you want to see dedication, motivation, and the unbridled passion of conquering every obstacle in our way, then buckle up, buddy. Let me ask you again. Are you ready?
Okay, let's go.
Now let me set the scene here. The only, and I mean the only geared person in this party is the healer. However, even being 440 in item level, the dungeon score was still below 2k, which only means that he or she doesn't do many keys. Our tank YOLO pulled every pull like he is the one overgeared though, which leads to multiple occasions throughout the dungeon where he just double jumps away to pull stuff, which meant we had to spend like 10 seconds just to catch up. Don't tank like this, please. Nothing went wrong towards the first boss, and on the same boss, there's no way you can die to any mechanic, since they're way too simple to spot and... oh. This was our damage after the first boss. Mind you, we used +2. Now, rewatching the recording, we should have stopped it right there, to be honest. But over here, we don't quit. A few unnecessary complicated pulls later, the tank decided that we are heading towards the third boss first, in order to wait for Lust to be ready. But Ragdoll decided to YOLO pull the boss too, which led to our paladin just absolutely ignoring the shrooms at the entrance. Shortly after, the dragon bites the dust, so we reset the boss. And again, just jumping in YOLO style. I positioned myself perfectly to drop off the upheaval to hit as many shrooms as possible. But this paladin confused me so much that I decided to seek death immediately. He raced over the shrooms with Bubble and his horse, but missed half of them. If you do it like this, there's very little benefit of doing it in the first place. Now 2 wipes on the board, we had to sober up in order to still manage this run. I figured that the key to success here is already position yourself proper in order to keep movement to a minimum. Third time's a charm. Now we at least spent enough time for Bloodlust to come back, but I was hella worried about the next boss, because if you ever did this on Tyrannical, you know how much of a pain this dude is. And again, we pulled without warning. Rewatching this, I probably should have calmed down on the maggot squashing in the beginning and let the healer do it, in order to dish out more damage. But the wolf in me had other plans. This boss just took over 3 minutes and for some reason we didn't wipe. With only the last few packs and the final boss remaining, 7 minutes on the clock seemed doable. But now the shittery started. Right away our healer missed a stop and pulled an extra worm to our pleasure. Here the Corruptor shamelessly sent his maddening gaze towards the tank and the healer who stood in one line to fear both. Luckily the tank didn't pull anything, but the healer did. So another worm for our enjoyment. And because of the placement, we also get another Corruptor. At least now there's nothing more extra to pull, you might think. Shame on you. I rested Dragon and went to the rest of the party that was staying to the right side of this area, so we don't pull the worm in the middle. Our Dragon, however, just ignored that and sidestepped right into it. So instead of 1 worm and 1 Corruptor, we had double the fun. This led to half the party dying, me getting feared because I paid more attention to the worm than the Corruptor. Also, can anyone tell me why our tank decided to just stay there instead of getting aggro of the worm after the first one died? Because my elemental was tanking that bad boy till I died. Now here I'd like to let you know that if you run too closely to the gateway, it will suck you into the last room. So if you want to rest someone, don't walk too far into... Oh well, the dragon and the priest run past him. Surely they will get him up, right? Yeah, so we waited for the paladin to arrive, because apparently all of us are somewhat rhubarbed. Alright, so you've seen how the last 2 bosses went. What do you expect will happen next? We wiped, of course. Now if you don't know, this boss will dish out a stacking debuff that can be removed by this little light circle, which is provided by the NPC that fights along with us. However, if you bring the boss to 100% energy, he will spawn 2 ads, which get killed by the same NPC. In that time, no healing circles will be spawned. So if you have a priest, you want to keep Master Spell for this situation, in order to prevent too much damage from coming in. Here you can see I died because the dot was ticking for 200k every 4 seconds. This is most likely not healable. Now for the second attempt, mind you, we were already in here for almost 40 minutes, so this group was willing to finish the job. No matter what. So we wiped again and went again. But this time, it was 110% my own fault. I got hit by the frontal. Shortly after, the paladin and the drag died too, which left only the tank and the healer alive to finish this, experience? Over 4 minutes passed of the duo, hailing from HQ, to hold their own and achieve the thing everyone believed to be impossible. Considering it has been a long time since a key like this actually got finished and not abandoned, I was more in awe than anything else. With that being said, I quickly checked the chest and left. After that, I decided that I potentially need an upgrade, so I went ahead and put out a public order for that funky new cloak that got introduced this season. Verse and mastery on the cloak is not something I'm hyped about, but getting more defense can't hurt. Also, I considered a new transmog, but stopped everything I was doing after this thing looked at me. Looks like a flippin' sleep paralysis demon if you ask me. Ready to head to the next key, I remembered which one I obtained after the Underworld run.
Not another one? Oh, for God's sake.
BP again. So I assembled a mean looking party full of Germans, and I was hoping this will end better. Also, did you know that you can just jump over downburst? I didn't. Nothing big to mention here. The hunter was a pumper, the tank was a pumper, the healer was clean, and the ferry was a bit derpy. So this will work out. I don't want to bore you with all the VP runs, so let's quickly rush to the end. 2-chesting this puppy left us with no item, but the Nelter was 14 key. But again I chickened out and went with the plus 12 instead of 14. At least I know in the plus 12 I can carry my own weight. Now Nelterus usually means you get at least one pumper caster DPS in your party, because there's some trinket people want. And lucky for me, not only was the priest that mentioned pumper, but the tank was decently geared too. Also, if you time this run, I will have enough worm crest to get myself a new crafted item on the max item level of 437, and I already have one specific in mind. Did you know there's an ability that will pierce you to the ground when you don't dodge it? I knew it, and I still got caught multiple times. Great fun. This was probably the first time that the chains on Shargoth were played correctly. We broke 2 out of 3 right away, and the priest waited the debuff out to break his. While all of this happened, the healer was aware of the incoming damage and instantly topped everyone off. Just clean. After that, nothing went wrong. Except me falling off the edge here. What happened next was the first for me. We pulled some extra packs, which led us being at max trash count here. And then we just skipped it. No stealth, no mind soothe by the priest, no invis potion, just skipping it. With this party, the last boss was only a formality, so we quickly dispatched of him and got an upgrade, a new shield. First I was excited for that, but then I remembered what my plan was. I wanted to use the farmed worm crest to get myself a big boy weapon. So I went to get myself an enchanted worm's shadow flame crest crafted first, which is hella expensive by the way. One of the items you need is like 5k. Now here I had 2 options, a 2-hand weapon or 1-handed shield. I quickly simmed the difference and I figured that the 2-hand weapon is just a little bit better in terms of output, so I went with that. Also, if I went for 1-handed shield, I had to farm another Shadow Flame crest. And after all, I don't really need a shield in PvE. That puppy was a bit pricey too, spending about 7k in mats and around 6k for the enchanted crest. With a tip of 1.5k, I was feeling my gold burn quickly. Not to mention that I now had no reason to not enchant the weapon as well. So I put out a public order with a good reason for someone to bless me with their blacksmithing skill. Now, I am not familiar with how this works, but I assume in the public order anything can happen. Most likely, you will get at least rank 3, but getting rank 5 is always only a percentage based chance. And we got our cloak on rank 5 earlier today, so there will be no way I get this.
I just nutted everywhere!
With this intense set of keys, and that massive world-saving Giga Chat hammer on our back, we are ready to take on the biggest opponents. Or just Underrod. I'd be happy if I just timed Underrod. But with this, we end our extra episode of week 1. Standing tall at a whooping item level of 460. As always, thank you guys for watching till the end. If you're still here, just comment whoopee down below, so I know you're a real one. I hope you have the most fantastic day whenever you see this, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.